good as I thought it would.
7 points for it.
Yeah, I thought that game would score a bit higher. I still really want to play it. I think it's going to be a Games Pass game though, like quite soon. Not like really soon, but like in the next like 6 months, I could see that dropping into Games Pass. And I don't know. I've got plenty to play. I've pre-ordered Metaphor, Repantasio, and yeah. So
Can't wait to play that on GameShare. Yeah, really excited.
Yeah, I mean, you can if you want. Good luck. You never played a Atlas game before, have you?
Steph? Yep, I played Persona.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
The whole way?
Didn't complete Persona. Nope. I played it for like 10 hours.
Royale. Did you play?
Yeah.
To be fair, I haven't played Royale. I've wanted to, but it's just too daunting a task. And I started with 3, and then I didn't really want to go to Royale. So, but no, I'm buzzing for Metaphor, and yeah.
I haven't really looked at it, to be honest. I know all the previews are pretty positive, but I haven't really looked into it.
It looks really cool. I love the world and the characters and stuff like that. I'm pretty excited to get into it. It's been a while since I pre-ordered a game. I just have that much confidence in it, so I might as well just snag whatever bonuses it comes with, rather than just buy it on the day. So,
I was about to start talking about Warhammer, but I think we can probably talk about that in the show. So should we get jingling and get going?
Yeah, let's do it. I was literally about to say the same thing. So we are. Oh, we have been jingling. God, we're jingling now again.
Nice. Hell yeah.
I hate it auto plays. It's so annoying.
I think you must be able to turn that off, right?
You can, yeah, but I just haven't bothered dipping in the settings.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 144 of the Quick Cuisine Podcast. This is the best podcast for talking about games, Xbox games, games where you can play. The best podcast for talking about games on platforms where Xbox games exist.
Mm-hmm.
This is the place.
And they can be somewhat aligned with the brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good.
Who knows at this point? We can talk about anything that way. You know, if we just add that long-winded caveat, we can talk about every platform and still technically be an Xbox show. So it's
I just thought you were actually just being like really sarky with the whole Xbox just like putting their games everywhere.
No, I
thought that's what you were. I thought, oh, okay. I thought it was like a joke. I didn't think it was genuinely because we just speak a little bit about everything. I thought you were both just bashing Xbox.
Well,
like straight
I mean, it's both. It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a weird week, Tim, because it's mostly just been like back and forth of developers being like, man, Xbox, like, God, this platform's skipping that shit. You know, and then half of it's been reversed, which we'll get into today as kind of one big lobby story.
Oh. Have you dropped off or have I dropped off?
We've had the first half of September Game Pass game. In SimWorld 5, am I still here? Hello? Oh my God, that was so scary, man.
You kind of cut out for like 10 seconds, but you're back.
Yo, okay, what did you hear? Because I opened Discord and like I looked like I was a demon, like my head was like slinging back and forth. It was really frightening. God, I hope that doesn't happen again.
I can't remember where you left off, to be honest. It was very jarring because you just kind of vanished.
Okay, right, I'll try one more time.
Okay,
maybe I can get details. All right. So difficulty, devs having difficulty with Xbox in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And then half of it's been reversed by this point of the week anyway. And then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, the first half of September for Game Pass. It's quite nice. We're looking at Age of Mythology Retold. We're looking at Riders Republic. We're looking at Train SimWorld 5, Tim.
Whoa. Riders Republic, is that like online dirt bike game or something?
Yeah, it's like the extreme sports like shared world game.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Okay, Nice.
I think it reviewed quite well, but I don't think it sold very well. People talk really fondly of it these days. Anyway, that's fair. And then just a bunch of other random shit, to be honest. Obviously, Concord happened. Concord has continued to happen, or Concord hasn't happened, I suppose, is what I should be saying. Hey, what else? What else? What else? Minecraft movie that got a trailer. I haven't actually got round to watching that yet.
I've seen
so
some
weird.
clips. I've seen some clips,
So
but I
weird.
haven't watched the full thing.
No, I'm scared to at this point, honestly.
Yeah.
Space Marine 2 previews and then Astro Bot came out today, and it's the best game that's ever been made. So all of that to talk about today, and more probably. Who knows?
Nice.
Yeah. Tim Buck 2. How's it going? What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, good. Decent week, quite a chilled out week because I'm in my my ramp down stage of my job. So kind of just just ticking along and letting them know I'm actually alive and there, but not really doing much more than that. And yeah, just sort of I got like a little thing lined up with a potential job tomorrow. So we'll see if that turns into anything.
Interview?
No, it's kind of like just like a chat, like about the role and stuff like that. But they seem quite an informal company, like generally. So it might just be the interview, to be honest. I don't really know, but yeah, they're gonna send me a Google Meet link tomorrow, and I'm gonna do that on my lunch break. So,
oh man, best of luck from the QRP crew, you know.
Thanks, man. Thanks. So yeah, that'd be nice to make a good impression there and whatever. But yeah, it's just been a relatively chill week. I've been trying to weave in a bit of gaming into my days. Got 2 monitors, so I kind of just have my Xbox on one. And I started up Sea of Stars again. So I've been putting quite a good amount of time into that actually. I've probably sunk another 7-8 hours into it. And yeah, still really good. I stand by that the game doesn't blow me away in terms of I think its world, the art, like the pixel art and how just pretty it is and stuff like that is great. The story's a bit, it's your classic sort of fantasy story, chosen ones, evil, blight, and then go fetch this, and you need this relic now, and it's that kind of vibe. But it's good, it's not bad. And yeah, I think overall I might be able to finish that tonight, potentially, after the poddy. And I think if I were to give it sort of a score right now, I think I'd probably be sitting around the 7.5, 8 range, I think. If it finishes strong, I think I could take it up to an 8. But yeah, I mean, yeah, in terms of gameplay and stuff like that, I think it's really good. So yeah, still having a good time with that. I have
Awesome.
dipped my toes into Age of Mythology the other night, which was good fun. We can talk about that more a little bit later if you want, but yeah, that seems like quite a promising game. Seems quite good, and that's been about it for me, I think, gaming wise this week. Yeah, just Sea of Stars, bit of Valorant, and a bit of Age. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. How far did you get in Age? Did you try it?
Yes, yeah. So I did the first couple campaigns, and then Tilly kind of just wanted to see how a game would run from start to finish. So we also literally just set up a lobby where I played against 2 other AI. And I just picked my army, picked my god. We started from scratch, built up our army, and I fought and won. I actually beat the AI as well, which is quite good. They're already on a standard difficulty, but yeah. So I played that. Probably that match was probably an hour and a half as well, from start to finish, because I'm learning everything. I'm learning things the tutorial hasn't even taught me yet. Just because Tilly wanted to see how it all sort of ran. And yeah, no, it's good fun actually. Yeah, it's a bit, it's a little bit clunky with the controller, I will say. Just having to manage everything where you click and then clear your selections and click on buildings and hold right trigger to then open up a sub menu and then pick that, and then it's all a bit. You can get a bit. Your brain can get a bit twisted playing it, because they've had to map so many things to a controller, right? But I think generally it plays pretty well, so I'm quite happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same with Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, where it was like, for considering that challenge they're up against getting an RTS game like Age on a console, they've done a pretty damn good job. And it is a bit overwhelming at first. It does feel a bit like my fingers are not used to this, but
Mm.
eventually you kind of get into it, and I think that is kind of a credit to how like much they must have play tested it to get it all the buttons in the right place. Like you do get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the best outcome we could really hope for with that with one of those sorts of games.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't think it's bad the way it's mapped out by any means. I think it's probably the only way it can be done. But yeah, it's like you said, it's just going to take some getting used to. But yeah, I mean, towards the end of the match and stuff like that, I was definitely sort of flowing with it a lot better. And yeah, I kind of dig it. I kind of dig it a little bit more than the Age of Empires vibe because I quite like the gods and the powers and stuff like that. I think that just adds a bit more intrigue for me at least. So yeah, no, good time.
Hmm. Yeah, I played the tutorial and then I did the first campaign or whatever, and yeah, I was feeling pretty good. I was having a good time with it. I can see why it's popular. It definitely has this kind of snappy, arcadey feel to it, and it's nice to just have like you just pick a god and go with that, and there's like powers as well as units, and
Mm.
yeah, it's got this really nice kind of appeal to it for an RTS game. So yeah, I'm excited to play that and sort of get on with you guys.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Other than that, still playing some Valorant, still clicking on heads. We've got a new agent over in the Valorant world,
Hmm.
which it's so great. I know we spoke about this a few weeks ago, but it's so great that Valorant is included as a Game Pass game because I boot it up and I do my daily challenges for the game the rewards.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is really handy. Yeah.
So still really enjoying that, and still playing Dragon's Dogma 2, which is still good. Still a bit of a weird one, but it's still good. One thing I am beginning to notice with Dragon's Dogma 2 is that there is like a real like lack of variety in enemy encounters. Like
Oh, really?
there's like I think I fought like 10 different monsters in the time I've played. I probably played like 20 hours.
Oh, damn.
Um, yeah, this is what I mean about what I was saying last week. Is like I'm quite surprised at the low budgetness of it here. Like everything is like kind of a step up from the first one, but it's not just quite as much as you maybe thought it would be. And I am having a good time because there's not much like it. Um, I still think it's good. I just unlocked one of the new vocations, which is one of the new classes, and it's like the Mystic Spear Hand. So it's like a magic spear boy who can do some range and some melee. And I've just been doing Archer up to this point, so I think once I've maxed that out, I'll probably give that a go because a lot of the attributes you get from classes are permanent. Like you can keep them regardless of what class. So there is an advantage to like maxing out one class and then moving on to another.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I am enjoying Dragon's Dogma, but it does continue to keep my eyebrows raised at like, why wasn't this given like a bit more of a push? Don't know.
Hmm. It is kind of weird, yeah, especially with sort of how they announced it and sort of the buzz behind it. It definitely gave the impression that it did have a lot more backing this time. And like you said, I'm sure it has because it has stepped up in pretty much every regard, but just
Hmm.
still not massively, right? I mean, you still
Yeah,
say it's
yeah,
AAA, right? Obviously. No?
yeah. I would say it's still AAA. Yeah, I would. But it's on the lower end of a
It's
AAA for sure.
yeah, yeah, it's closer. Yeah, it's on that edge. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
And I meant to say, I totally forgot. There's a couple of weeks back now. I played Still Wakes the Deep on Game Pass. I was just like between big
Mm.
games. I can't remember what the last big game I just played was. Oh, it was Star Wars, wasn't it? Jedi Survivor. And I was like just playing little games. Um, Still Wakes the Deep, and there was something else that I can't remember that I
Path
did
of the
talk about.
Goddess.
Anyway, Path of the Goddess, thank you. Yeah, that was the fucking game of the year so far. And that was only like 6 hours long, but like I didn't love it, to be honest. I'd probably give it like a 6. I know a lot of people really vibed with it. I don't know what. like Open Critic it's sitting at the moment. It's sitting at 76. So you know, it did pretty well, and I know people were quite pleased with how it performed. Um, I just didn't do that much for me. It felt a bit incoherent. It didn't. The actual plot devices there felt a bit forced. There was like a nice allegory going on in the background. You know, the whole theme of it being on a oil rig out at sea. You know, it was the whole thing was about like running away from your problems. Basically, that was like the theme of the game, and that was like executed like reasonably well. But the way it kind of came together just didn't really do it for me. So, unfortunately, that wasn't a big win for me. But I'm glad I got to play it again. It's only 5 hours long, and it was pretty. And it was definitely a novel idea. Like I really liked the setting of it being on an oil rig, and I don't feel like they really leaned into that like really unique setting as much as they could have done. So I think that was probably the biggest disappointment for me. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
You might like it if you're into like short, sharp, first-person horror games that are quite pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to sort of. I do quite like that, but then I base that solely off like my Outlast experience and stuff like that, because I think those are the only sort of games I played like that, first person kind of quick horror games. So, but yeah, no, it definitely did intrigue me when I saw the trailers, and like you said, I think the most interesting part was the oil rig setting. Like just that feeling of just being completely alone and stranded, and yeah, like that definitely is what piqued my interest and probably everyone else's. So, but yeah, I think it's maybe something that I'll give a go, especially for like a quick Halloween game coming up in October, maybe. But
yeah, I definitely recommend giving it a go if this is typically your sort of thing. It just didn't quite land for me, which I was quite surprised about because I was expecting to quite enjoy it. And like I said, I did kind of enjoy it. It just wasn't like good or great. It was fun. It had
yeah.
some highs and some lows.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Great. Okay. Is there anything? Am I missing anything? Is there anything else we want to talk about? Do you want to talk about that sick ace you got this week, bro? Sick ace. It's pretty fire that.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I can't remember what it wasn't that clutch though, was it?
You
It
went
was
click,
just
click, 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 and
oh yeah,
we won the game.
yeah. That fourth click was so good. I remember that one vividly.
I really felt that one. Sweet. Okay. Well, let's move on to some of the stuff that happened this week. I can see we've got a few things down here. Tim, any of these minor stories or topics that you are wanting to start on?
We can start on. We can start on Space Marine 2.
Space Marine 2. I was going to bring this up at the beginning earlier in the show. I think it started filming when you said that Metaphor Refantasia was one of the first games in a while that you've pre-ordered. And I'm starting to get that vibe from Space Marine, I'm starting to think maybe we should just I think I'm feeling pretty confident, like it's reviewed well. This is going to be a good time with friends. All of our friends are getting it by the sounds of it. So I think maybe this is a bit of a lock-in. How have you been feeling about Space Marine 2 with the news and reviews coming out this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think sort of following this game for I wouldn't say following. I've been aware of its existence for a while, and it definitely it's always remained quite positive in my mind, sort of looking in on it and keeping an eye on it and stuff like that. And at no point was I ever sort of like worried. I kind of always knew it'd be quite a decent, fun game, but it's definitely outperformed what I expected it to do. In all honesty, I was expecting this game to be a mid-70s good time. You shoot, it's gory, it's gross, you play it with your team, your friends and stuff like that, and that's kind of what I expected out of this. So it's definitely outperformed that, because I think it's like mid-80s, I think 83, I think last I checked. So
83 on Open Critic, yeah.
So yeah, it's well outperformed what I was expecting it to do, and yeah, good for it, man. Like I'm really happy for him. Because you don't see many games come out like this. It kind of reminds me of like when Evil West just kind of took a punt as well. Like it gives me that kind of vibe where they just went for like fun, just like action fun, and then hell, they also added co-op. Play it with your friends. It's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like they're taking a page out of those sort of books, and I feel like games like this, like, feel very doomy, right? I think with Doom's success and stuff like that, I feel like games like this have existed where people are just like, we can just make like a mindlessly fun game, and people will like it in this sort of gaming era. So, yeah, man, yeah, it looks really good. I don't know, is it a full price 70 quid game? Is it?
I think it is.
I don't
Yeah, I
actually
think it
know.
is.
I think it might
Mm.
be. But yeah, no, I mean, I think I'd be game for this. To sort of split this um and play that. Yeah, for sure. It looks like a good old time.
Yeah, I'm always like really into anything that performs well in the Warhammer universe. I'm always like really into giving a go because they tend to be like co-op games. I know next to nothing about Warhammer other than the games I played, but it's always so they're always so cool. They've always got this kind of like, military, cosmic, sci-fi kind of energy to it that nothing else ever seems to quite have. Darktide, Vermintide, and now this as well.
Mhm.
Um, they always have like this really like unique energy to them. So I'm really glad that this has performed well. And yeah, I mean, because it's weird as well. It's one of those games where they've like made a really solid game, and it has a PvP as well.
Okay.
And I don't know how, like, I haven't really heard many people mention that in the reviews. Maybe like the servers went up or something. I don't know. Maybe I've just missed
Yeah, I
like
haven't
some of the
heard anything
commentary on
about
it.
that. Yeah, I didn't even know it had that,
Yeah.
to be honest. Like, that's
Hmm.
news to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also don't know like what the hook is. Like, is it just a one and done campaign, or is there like a hook to keep playing? In the vein of Darktide or Vermintide. Like,
Mm.
I don't know. So, yeah, I'm seeing it's £60 for us. So yeah, full price.
Hmm. And it's out now, or is it still to be released? I know obviously it's getting reviewed, but I'm not sure if those have just gone up early.
On the 9th, so next Tuesday.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, potentially this could be a pretty good buy. Yeah, like you said, it would be interesting to see how, yeah, like what the hook is, because to me it just kind of screams as like the sort of one and done campaign. Like, I think it could be a bit of fun. You just mash your way through it, and maybe you play on a harder difficulty or something like that. But to me, it didn't seem like it went much deeper than that. But like I said, I haven't given too much sort of research into the game.
Mm.
I'm aware that it's doing very well, and people are buzzing about it. But um, I yeah, I don't think it's going to go down a similar vein to it's like Darktide and Vermintide and stuff like that. I don't think. I don't think
Mm.
you'll have that form of replayability if that's what you're hoping for. But
Mm. Yeah, cool. Well, that's good. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, big because, like you said, we've seen this game for a couple of years now, and it always looked really promising. So it's great that it's come through, and it's a bit of a revival of the series, if I understand correctly. So it's great, good for Saber Interactive, who are the developers, and then obviously it's I think Focus. Is that right? Focus Entertainment, who are the publishers, and Saber Interactive are the guys who made World War Z. Is that right? World War Z.
okay,
So,
and that was
so
a
it's like
pretty good game.
similar. Yeah, and it's similar, like kind of. They've clearly bought that tech with them, to have a lot of the bad guys. I don't know what they are in Warhammer. The
Oh,
zombies, the zombie
I
bugs, like
forgot what
crawl
they're
on top of each
called.
other, and insectoids or whatever.
I forgot what they're called. I don't know. It's not going to come to me, but I know it. It's in my brain somewhere.
Hmm. Cool. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the Minecraft movie, man. I'm just really surprised this exists. I'm gonna watch it right now.
I wish I could show it on stream, but I still haven't set up the live viewing thing. So, because I'm a butt, and I just don't have
Damn,
the time, and I
he's a butt.
forget.
I've just
Um,
booted it up, and on the IGN channel, it's 39k likes to 51k dislikes.
oof. Although Jack Black's in it, from what I hear.
Yeah, but the genre of Jack Black being in video games is not like it's just not going so well, is it? I
Mm,
don't think.
not particularly. What you mean video
Just he's
game
just in
movies
Borderlands.
specifically? Yeah, because I was about to say he's done. like voices for video games, because didn't he do like Brutal Legend and stuff like that? But
Yeah, him being in video games, fine. He was in Psychonauts 2 as well.
yeah, he
And
was, yeah.
but movies, he just seems to be like the prime pick for it, really weirdly.
But I don't know, man. I think Borderlands was just kind of just dead on arrival. The man just took a check and was just like, yeah, all right. I don't think anyone expected that to go well. I don't know, man. It has. I don't know.
This is gonna suck. This is gonna suck so
It
much.
is gonna suck. But then the same thing everyone said with Sonic. Remember Sonic when that first got announced? And albeit his design was horrific and proper nightmare fuel, and the internet was so in outrage that they changed it. But I don't think they changed much outside of the design. I think the voice actor remained the same, the character and stuff like that. And those movies slap, dude. Like,
why did he have human teeth? I remember that getting revealed, dude. Like, why did he have human teeth?
And to be honest,
and human eyes.
That's the first thing I've ever, like, the internet was just in such outrage that they had to change it. Like they literally just completely redesigned it, and then the movie did super well, and then it's got like sequels that are doing super well, and it's got like a series I think now. Like, so you know it can be done even when things are looking pretty dire. You know it can be turned around. And I mean, if there's an IP that can do it, and an IP that has as much reach as Minecraft, I mean, you know, they'd be stupid not to try with this and make it like just really put in a lot of effort and a good amount of budget and really think about this, because if you can make multiple like Minecraft movies, dude, I don't even want to think about the money that you could rake in with Minecraft as like an IP, as like TV and movie as well as games. Like Jesus, like please don't just give this a half-assed attempt and lose money.
Yeah. But it's a weird one because, I mean, Minecraft is, so I was about to say, like, this has taken so long that maybe Minecraft has missed its, like, you know, golden window. But just having a look, like, just on the Xbox most played store, you know, it's hardly the biggest sample size anymore, but it's still number 6, you know. Like, Roblox these days does seem to be bigger. Like, I do wonder what the target audience is for Minecraft. I wonder if it is, like, Zoomers and Gen Alpha, like, are running around playing Minecraft, or if they're just doing obbies on Roblox.
What's hobbies?
I've been getting schooled, dude, about what's going on in Roblox by my.
I was about to say, what is this terminology? I've never. What's hobbies?
By my Zoomer in-laws and alpha in-laws. Yeah, RJ, if you're watching, hi, thank you so much. So an obby, Tim, is an obstacle course. It's short for obstacle course. It's when you do an obby, and all the kids run around and they type into the chat and they say, "I'm doing an obby. I'm doing an obby," and their mum will say, "Come get your fucking dinner. It's going cold," and you'll say, "Mum, I'm doing an obby." You know, and they're running around and just jumping, doing all sorts of crazy shit that you do in Roblox, you know?
Okay. It's an obby.
It's an obby, dude. So, it is clearly still a big IP, but I do wonder if, like, there's going to be, like, a demographic mismatch here. I know, like, because Minecraft is such a not movie IP. You could arguably make the same, say the same thing about Sonic, but Sonic has characters, man. Like, it actually tells stories in its game. Minecraft has Steve and what's the fucking dragon mythos guy? Who's the guy that everybody like was scared of in Minecraft?
Enderman.
Say it again.
The Enderman.
No, not the Enderman.
And the Ender Dragon.
No, like it was like a glitch, and everybody was scared of seeing. I'm never gonna fucking remember.
A glitch?
Yeah, it was like a glitch, and everybody thought it was like a creepy guy following you around.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Herobrine, is it Herobrine?
Herobrine, yeah, that is it. Yeah.
What even does that mean? What does that word mean? I haven't said that for like a decade.
I don't know.
Herobrine is an urban legend and creepypasta from the video game. Oh, it's a creepypasta.
It sounds like a Pokemon move. Herobrine.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like you can kind of put something together, you know, with like Steve as a character. You could put some voices behind some of the animals, and he has some of the animals going around with him, like a pig and a fucking sheep and a chicken and shit. And then you got like I don't know, his villagers and his quest to beat the Ender Dragon. You can make a fun children's movie out of this. Like there's less
I mean,
material that they've
maybe.
done.
I don't know. I just think it's a problem when your main cast is going to be chicken, pig, and sheep. I don't know. It's just
That
freaking
is
me out a
true.
bit.
That is true. But then it's Minecraft, so people are aware. I don't know. I think it has the potential to be massive, but obviously
Yeah.
this trailer has not hit like
Yeah.
at all. So
I think the crux for me, the crux of the problem is like if like anyone under the age of like 8 isn't still ferociously and violently into Minecraft, nobody's going to watch this.
ferociously. Who's violently into Minecraft? Who do you know?
Little kids that run around with pickaxes, like they're crazy, and then they punch trees, like pretending to get like the ones who are like mental. Like,
You've found kids punching trees before, have you?
yes, have you not seen
Just
that?
bloody
I guess
knuckle, just going
yeah,
at
well,
it.
they pretend. Yeah, it's like they're either out there flossing, doing an hobby, or punching down trees.
Fucking hell, I haven't been outside in a while, man. I might go to my park and see what the local lobby's like.
Yeah, they've all got square heads now. It's weird as fuck. I think I don't. So I think this could really slap for them because it's Minecraft, and they're just gonna like shake their parents' legs until they take them out to the cinema to watch
Exactly.
Minecraft. But if it's not, if that audience is now mostly occupied by Fortnite and Roblox, I think this is gonna fucking bomb. I just don't know where the demographic begins and ends because no adults watching this. This doesn't look funny. This doesn't, and the visual style is really unappealing. Is it just me? It looks like it looks like they've like done it in AI.
Yeah,
it looks really bad.
it looks weird, isn't it? It's kind of like that weird in between of like CGI and animation, and everything looks weirdly like smooth. And yeah, I don't like it. I don't like that style. I don't like it when they do it in games either. There's a couple of games that have done it, and I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. Like the Minecraft aesthetic is such a recognizable thing, and here they've just gone, let's make everything square. And like it's not the same. Like there's real grass. Like I'm looking at it, there's like real flowers and real grass, and it's just not the same. So it just looks kind of not really like Minecraft. It looks like a Minecraft AI. Yeah, it's really
yeah,
weird.
because you might as well go like full like pixelated and stuff like that, right? And square.
Right.
That makes a little bit more sense. But I don't know, man. All I know is I pre-ordered my tickets. You know, we'll see what happens. And I've pre-ordered for like 5 days in a row because I'm expecting it to be a banger. But we'll see.
You just turn your head and it's flat at the back.
Yeah.
It's a square.
Have you seen that creepypasta? Not creepypasta. The Meat Canyon with that fucking Minecraft.
I think YouTuber. I have. Yeah.
When he like transforms and morphs into one and starts shouting that he's God. So creepy.
Man, yeah, that's the Minecraft movie. I don't have high hopes for that. And as well, like just I totally forgot about this, but of course, you know, we forget, Tim. Xbox owns Minecraft. Not a single Xbox logo in there.
Is there really not? Fucking hell. Why?
Nope. Don't care, do they? It's only one of the biggest IPs on the planet. No big deal. Call of Duty, Minecraft. Fuck it. Oopsie doops. Left the logo off.
Even if they're doing a cheap fucking Minecraft movie, it's still hundreds of millions. Why do they not want to slap a fucking logo in there? Like, you might as well try and get something out of it if it's going to bomb.
Oh, Xbox, why do you do this to us? Okay, I wanted to talk about Towerborne a little bit, just a little bit, because they put up a like a dev diary on their YouTube channel, which I'd really highly recommend everybody goes to watch if you have any passing interest in Towerborne. If you're for the uninitiated, Towerborne is like side scroller, like 2.5D brawler with loot, service game, coming to Steam to early access soon, and then Xbox Game Preview early in 2025. And it's really good. We've been really positive about it here on the channel from what we've seen, and all of the previews have been really positive as well. Well, they've done 2 dev diaries now, and recently put up another one. I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before. And all of it looked great, man. Like, I think they're really crushing this. Like, everything they showed off looks really good. I'm a big fan of what they're doing here, and I'm really excited to see it go to Steam and to hear like all the impressions there, and then of course to play it. But I just wanted to give that a quick shout out.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't actually watched that. Is it quite a long sort of dev diary, or is it like sort of like 10-15 minutes?
Yeah, I think it's like 10-15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, so I might watch that tonight. That might be some good evening watching material.
Yeah, definitely do. It's I know it's only 5 minutes. There you go. It's not too long.
Oh, okay.
But it's called this episode that they just did is called Fights, Friends, and Fat Loot. So it gives you an idea of what's.
Did they spell fat with a PH, or did they?
No, they should have done. Yeah,
missed opportunity.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about Astro Bot then. Astro Bot came out. Well, no, it didn't come out. The reviews came out today, Tim, and I'm just having a quick flick to OpenCritic. Astro Bot is the highest rated game of the year,
all time,
with 95 on OpenCritic. 95 on OpenCritic. Actually, let me check real quick. Puts it at the same score as Elden Ring. So funny, Tim.
Nothing, dude. Nothing.
No, come on, you're laughing. What's so funny?
There's nothing funny about it, man. You know, I'm just laughing because I've just lost it. I've lost faith.
Lost faith in what, man?
This is game of the year. I hope you know that. It's 100% game of the year. There's not there's nothing. I think even if GTA 6 came out and was like, yeah, we're competing. No, I still think Astro Bot's got it.
Oh yeah.
Nothing stops it.
Yeah. It's really tickled the nostalgia testicles around there. There's no escaping the grip that Team Asobi have gotten on your ballsack with Astro Bot here.
I don't get it. Maybe I'm just not a big fan of that like genre, but like even when it's done well and they're crisp and they're good, like the Mario Odyssey and all that kind of stuff, they just don't really do it for me, man. They just still seem so basic. Like I was watching like some of a review and people were like, just like the groundbreaking, revolutionary level design. And he's just like hopping on a platform and it's like a seesaw thing. And, you know, he stands on one end, so then it goes up and then he walks to the top and then he jumps and he punches a fucking like absolute Octo-Rock rip-off from Zelda that's just spitting like mechanical balls. And I wanted to like, all of this has been done before. Like, I don't want to bash the game or anything, but none of that seems revolutionary to me. Absolutely none of it. It's just a physics-based platformer. It might have a bit more polish and it's got a bit more charm, but
the controller tickles you, dude, and it makes noises. It makes funny noises.
Rod up my ass. It still wouldn't be a 95. It's ridiculous, man.
Well, I think it's I'm totally with you because like I look at the gameplay of this, I'm like, this looks great. Like this looks very polished. This looks really colorful. This looks fun. This looks like it'd be really fun to play. So I can totally see that. However, I'm just like you. I'm like, whenever I try platformers, I'm like, this is fine. Like I bought Mario Odyssey a couple of months ago, Super Mario Odyssey, and I'm playing it, and I'm like, this is a good 7. It's like it's got some very evident and very clear like faults and drawbacks. And then I have a little look on OpenCritic. 97, Tim. It's the highest rated game of all time.
Wow.
So like what that tells me is that I think just the reviewers, like generally for reviewers, platformers really speak to them. Which is like, you know, you should always send out the right reviewer for the right game. I mean, that doesn't always happen, but like, you know, if you are someone who likes platformers, then sure, I guess those really, really slap for you. So it's hard for us to really commentate on this properly as people who just aren't a fan of this genre.
Mm.
But I've always side-eyed some of the platformers that are coming. Like 97 for Mario Odyssey is crazy to me. So I mean, I'm happy for the team. Like they crushed it. They're a small team. But did anybody really expect? I never understood it from get go. You know, Astro Bot got revealed. We saw like 7.5 seconds of gameplay, and it was like of a PlayStation, a dual sense controller flying around, like a Kratos Astrobot,
Mm.
a Aloy Astrobot, and everyone was like immediately like, "This is my game of the year." And then guess what? It comes out, and everyone reviews it as their game of the year. I
Mm.
didn't really understand what was in those trailers that was so hype-inducing over the first one. Because the thing is, I played Astro Playroom, and actually, I think Astro Playroom's better than Super Mario Odyssey.
It's
It's
good.
great. It's delightful. It's really delightful. It's just delightful to play. It's like an 8. So what's the step up from Playroom to Astrobot that makes it in like the top 10 games of all time? What's happened here?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It kind of makes you think. Like, I wonder, and I'm not playing the console war card here, but like, I wonder if something like this was revealed by Xbox, and they had cute little Xbox chibi characters, a little chibi Chief, and a little chibi fucking Marcus, and a little all that. You think this game's hitting 95, 96?
Nope.
Like, I don't know, it sounds like I'm just console warring here, but like I don't know, man. I just feel like Sony needed a win, and no matter what the fuck this game was going to come out looking like, even if it was a buggy mess that only launched 2 out of the fucking 10 times you clicked on the application, I still think this game is getting absolutely just glorifying reviews. Like, I don't know. I just feel like people weirdly think that Sony need a win, and it was just going to happen. Maybe I'm just being a dick. Maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I don't know. Something's not up though, man, and I've got to do some digging.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I can't help but feel a little bit salty, but it's mostly just because this isn't my sort of game, so I just find this very hard to empathize with. And like I said, like I'm really happy for the team. It's great, and you know, it's great that Nintendo get to kick up their ass for people who like this sort of thing.
Mm.
It's great that Nintendo seemingly have a bit of competition here, for Mario. So, but I do agree with you in some ways of like. I like I said from the get go, as soon as this was showed off, everybody like went into a frenzy. Like it feels a bit self
Mm.
prophesizing, you know. They're like it was like manifested, and I don't really get it, and I can't. It's just me. That's totally a me thing. Clearly,
It's an us thing. I don't get it either. But yeah,
it's a nice thing.
yeah, but
95 though, dude. 95.
yeah, not taking anything away from them at all. But I don't know. It just feels weird to say that's the game of the year for me. And I'm not I don't want it to be some hyper realistic, high graphics, um, Black Myth Wukong. That's not what I'm saying. But like, it just feels kind of weird that it's that. But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, especially well, because like we had Baldur's Gate 3 last year, you know, and that was game of the year, and that was like really unconventional. And then it was a couple of years ago that it was It Takes Two, right?
Mm.
That wasn't my game of the year that year. I thought that was great, and but I also could understand why that would win. Um, I totally got it, and I was really glad at the same time because you don't see those sorts of games getting game of the year very often, ever, ever. You
No.
know, like a co-op only sort of mini game. Yeah, like awesome. So you do get this variety sometimes. But like you're absolutely right. I think there's more of even more of a discussion to have about what this makes Game of the Year look like, you know, because we're going to get to the end of the year and the exact same thing is going to happen that happens every year. Xbox isn't going to get a single nomination.
Yeah.
PlayStation's going to show up in a couple of the nominations, and this year I think they're probably going to get a lock on it with Astro Bot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, I think we spoke about this the other week, but like I do think this was the behind the scenes like Concord stuff in the sense that when we spoke about did they not know how bad it was, like the sales and orders and pre-order numbers and everything? Yeah, I think they did, and they just put it out 3 weeks before Astro Bot because they knew Astro Bot. They were doing these mock reviews, and they had the mock journalists come in and do these internal numbers for them, and they were just lining up for tens and tens and tens, tripping over themselves to give tens. Because look, it's chibi Kratos, dude. It's chibi Crash Bandicoot. I fucking love that shit. It's chibi Jack and Daxter, like so. And I think it's totally fair to say, and it's like as a reviewer, it's totally fair as well for you to be enticed by that. But it's totally fair to say that this game has really drawn on the nostalgia of the critics, and that's absolutely going to influence the stores and the scores. And that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, it's quite evident that that's the case. And they designed the game that way. They designed the game for it to be like a love letter to the brand and the PlayStation, everything else like that. That's absolutely fine. I'm just throwing it out there as an acknowledgement that for sure is going to be pumping up and juicing up some of those scores.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. That sort of that brand recognition and just using all the different IPs and stuff like that. It's just tickling everyone. They just love it. But yeah. No, I agree with everything you're saying.
Interesting. So right now, 5 nominations for Game of the Year. Oh, is it 5 or is it 6? I think it's usually 6. I think we're probably looking at Astro Bot. We're looking at Final Fantasy. We're probably looking at Helldivers as well.
Yeah, even though it did tank off pretty quick, but yeah, it still was it was like a phenomenon, wasn't it, for a while?
Yeah, but well, I mean, by the score, you wouldn't expect it would be there. But I think the people who fell off at the right time, and still think that was a great game, perfectly executed service game, and I think it will probably get a couple of votes. So I think you probably get 3 PlayStation associated games up there, which, like, credit to them on a year which was supposed to be quite a barren year for them. Again, it's like quality over quantity.
Yeah,
and at least in the eyes of the critics, that's they've had Concord, which is a massive red mark against their service games and anything which is multiplayer or a shooter, a first-person shooter, that is, or a first-person game in general, I suppose. But I suspect most of the players don't care because most of the players on PlayStation want single-player content, and they've got most of that. They've still gotten that a little bit this year too.
Yeah, because you could even argue that Wukong is extremely PlayStation orientated, right? With I imagine a large majority of its sales, just PlayStation, and obviously PC as well. But like, and that'll probably be in the Game of the Year nomination as well, I would imagine. So. Yeah, pretty much everything there is just either just straight up didn't come out on Xbox, or it's just like multi-plat, but just didn't get its release for whatever reason. Wukong is a bit dodgy for that, but yeah.
I've got to say, I will be surprised if Wukong makes Game of the Year. I will be surprised.
Well, you don't even think it will get nominated?
No. It's like an 81. It's got the same score as Hellblade 2.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, just those fucking numbers, dude. Those player counts, like, that's crazy. Like,
yeah,
maybe
it's definitely a zeitgeist, but I don't think it's a zeitgeist over here. I think it's mostly in China, and like China isn't involved in the Game of the Year. The TGA panel. Unfortunately, that would be pretty interesting. But I think really you're looking at Astro Bot, Final Fantasy, Helldivers 2, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. I really hope Balatro, and maybe even Destiny Final Shape. Seeing as we're including expansions now since Cyberpunk got in last year, that's apparently a thing that we're doing now. So we can have 2 expansions maybe in the end. If it's not them, then I think maybe Like a Dragon, which was also a 90. Hades 2 was early access, so probably not. Maybe Tekken 8.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones is going to miss the cutoff, but I also don't think it's getting a 90. I think it's probably getting mid 80s, which would be fine. That still might, that still might make it qualify, but it's missing the cutoff for this year. So,
yeah, and I'm just trying to think of anything else that came out that popped off. I mean, you still have your potential games. Like we don't know how hard something like Metaphor might hit, for example. Like it's Atlas, and Atlas slap like Atlas games review insanely well, and they sell very well as well. So there's a potential that might sneak in there as a nomination as well.
Persona 3 Reload as well was an 88.
Yeah, true.
Unicorn Overlord also an 88. Dragon's Dogma 2 is an 87, but I don't think it makes the cut. Maybe Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. That was a bit of a sweetheart game at the beginning of the year. That's 87.
Yeah, it's been a great year for games, to be honest. Yeah. So it's kind of anyone's call, but yeah, there's not. No matter how you look at it, there's not much Xbox in there. There's not much Xbox aligned stuff. Yeah. Shame.
And they've had a handful of good releases. It's just none of them are quite breaching. And this is the problem. They've had it for a number of years now. They've had a really good bit of quality control, Redfall aside, where everything has been like 80 plus, like 80, 85 plus. These are great games, but none of them are quite breaching into that, like, that's a guaranteed nomination spot for the end of the year. The only one that was, the only 2 that was Hi-Fi Rush. It conveniently didn't make the cut on a very strong year, but didn't make the cut. And then the other one was Forza Horizon 5, which didn't count because it was a car game. So which was the highest rated game of the year, I will add. I will keep adding until the day I die. Never happened before. It will never happen again, where the highest rated game of the year doesn't get a nomination. Imagine if Astro Bot didn't get a nomination this year because it was a platformer.
Oh, yeah, I think
Imagine the absolute shit show.
Yeah, he'd be shot like live on stage.
Jeff Keighley would just a little laser point in between his eyes.
Yeah, he's like shaking reading the cards. It's not even on there, but he just says it just to save his own life.
Yeah. Like, you just imagine that. Like in any other context, a game being the highest rated game of the year, not even getting a nomination would send the whole industry into disarray.
Yeah.
But whatever, what do I know?
I've heard you bring up this argument so many times, and every time you're just as passionate as the last. You never lose your fire.
I don't lose steam, because it is bullshit. Like, it is straight up bullshit. Like, there's no way around it. Like, it's the one thing, it's like the only thing that I can like lean into without like a drop or a giant cup of satire when we're talking about like console wars or whatever, or conspiracies, where I'm like, no, that's actually fucking horseshit. That was fucking horseshit. Like, oh my God, what are we doing here? What are we doing? That's the one thing where I generally think like we needed to have a conversation of an industry, like what are we doing when we're talking about quality of games and game awards and everything. And I know there's a bit of a defense force that's like, oh, it's to do with the cutoffs. Whatever. I don't believe you. Oof. I've got at least 2 more of that in me before the end of the year. Like at least 2 more times to bring that up. Yeah.
Before the end of the year.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Literally, I think we're probably cresting now. We're getting to that stage where, like, as I'm bringing it up, your like face is dropping. You're like, I can't listen to this again.
And there's a guarantee. I know there's at least 1 more because you will bring it up around the time of the TGAs. Like, that's just guaranteed. But 2 more, that was a surprise to me. Who knows when you're gonna slip in?
Well, because I reckon we'll have the TGAs and I'll bring it up then. But then Indiana Jones will release. because Indiana Jones is going to release before the TGA show, but it will be after the TGA cutoff. So I think I'll probably get a bit heated around then as well. Unless, of course, it's not that good and then it won't matter. But, you know.
All right. Well, thanks for warning me. I appreciate the heads up.
No problem at all. What's coming out next year? Next year's the year, right?
Yeah, Avowed, dude. Avowed's guaranteed game of the year.
We're gonna have Towerborne. We're gonna have Avowed. We're gonna have Fable. We're gonna have Doom. What else are we having? Something else going on there. South of Midnight. I mean, like, what? Surely we're getting a nomination on one of those games. GTA will win. Fine. We're just looking for nominations.
Yeah. GTA will win it. Yeah. Unless Elder Scrolls 6 makes a surprise 2025 appearance. Battle of the fucking crazy. Giants. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. I feel like I had something else to say there. I can't remember what it is though. Oh, I got it. We've totally forgotten about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024.
Oh yeah. What, as a potential nomination this year?
Yeah.
No, it's got vehicles in it, isn't it? That's not how that works.
The thing is, I somewhat understand the flight sim argument. Like, that is really niche. Forza Horizon 5 isn't that niche. It's had like 30 million players, and it had like 13 I think it was in like a week, it had like 13 million players. Like, yeah. I mean,
you almost brought it back up again.
It took a lot
2 minutes later.
Microsoft Flight Simulator, the first one, Tim, got 92 in 2020.
That's pretty good.
Oh, that's the thing. They'll come away with awards. Like, this is the thing. We always have this conversation of like, oh, they didn't get a Game of the Year nomination. Xbox always comes away with awards. They just don't get the Game of the Year awards. So pick your poison, I guess. You know, like last year, there was this whole hullabaloo. If you remember, it was a similar thing where everyone was like, this was meant to be a strong year for Xbox, and they didn't even get a nomination, you know, in between Hi-Fi Rush, Starfield, Redfall, obviously, and something else that I can't remember. Forza Motorsport, but they came away with like four wins, like 4 wins in different categories. Nintendo also got 4, if I remember correctly, and I think PlayStation got none, even though 2 of their games were in the nomination category. I think it was Spider-Man and something else again that I'm forgetting. So, you know, whatever.
Straight.
Like, it's right here. I don't think it's ultimately that important, but I'm gonna. Did I just bug out?
Yeah, for like a second. You're fine.
Yeah, it's not that important, but I am going to continue to whinge about it.
Yeah,
because I'm a bit of a loser. All right. Cool. I feel really good after that. Thanks for listening, guys.
Nice.
Probably cathartic. Right, how are we doing for time? 57. Awesome. Okay, is there anything else? I can see you put Age of Mythology there, but we've kind of already spoken about that. Is there anything else you wanted to speak about there, or are we good?
Not really. No, I kind of covered it. Just the fact that it's another like banger Games Pass release, you know, that's come out. RTS, you know, it'd be interesting to see what kind of numbers this bad boy pulls in. And yeah, I'm just having a good time with it. So it's just nice to see this cadence of, you know, we talk about it and we talked about it in the past, but like this cadence of just 80 plus games just dropping into Games Pass at the moment. And like I said, I can't remember the last time I actually bought a game. Actually I bought Armored Core on a sale and stuff like that. But yeah, I just don't really buy games anymore because I know that Games Pass just kind of drip feeds them in. Yeah. So
and have you found as well that like when we have a good stretch of Game Pass like that, and then a game comes out that like you want to buy, you're like, pay my money, you know, like willingly. It's like, yes, you've earned this. Like I feel really okay about spending full price on a game because I feel like I've gotten so much value out of the subscription service in between purchases.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even, you know, like I just casually just pre-ordered like Metaphor the other day. like I literally just did it while I was just upstairs chilling on the sofa, and Tilly was just like, "What'd you just do?" And I was like, "Huh?" She's like, "You just spent like 70 quid on a game." I was like, "Oh yeah." Like I just didn't even like think about it or realize it. Yeah. Maybe it's the Games Pass effect.
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me.
Hypnotizing you. Yeah, and actually, that's such a good point, Tim. You didn't say this at all in the slightest. This is just an excuse to bring it back to the Game Awards.
Oh, for fuck's sake, no.
Do you know what they should do? They should have a new category,
Oh,
and the category should be
but
Best Subscription Service of the Year.
I mean, considering
Well, won't do that,
everyone
will
has
they?
one now,
Fucking
though.
coward. Won't do that, you fucking coward. Well, exactly. That's what I mean. It's good competition, surely. Put them on a pedestal. Let the gamers know which has been the best that year.
Yeah, it's true.
Fucking coward won't do it. We all know why.
Yeah.
We all know why.
God. All right. Well, I feel like this is getting a little bit. You're a little bit biased right now. You're a bit heated.
I mean, let's just. I mean,
Come out the hot
we all
seat.
know it. We all know Game Pass would win. It would have won back to back for the last 5 years if that was a category. We all know it. Even PlayStation
Well,
users would admit that.
Unless they drop Concord in before the TGAs,
Facts.
and then that's gonna be insane, dude. Just think the
Such
numbies
facts.
that might pull in. Might hit triple digits.
I'm actually going to tweet Jeff about this. I think this is a great idea. I'm going to do it right now.
All right. Okay.
Jeff.
He's really flown off the rail, guys. I tried to get this back on track, but
Hi, Jeff.
I wasn't even
He's probably gonna
talking
block
about
me.
the TGAs, and he managed to swing it back, and now he's tweeting Jeff. I just
Hi, Jeff. What do you think? What do you think
I tried.
about a
I tried.
best subscription service of the year?
Tech, I could just whip him
Lord.
into the Discord if you want.
Oh, really? Get him in.
Would you if
I'm
I
not on
actually
speed
just
dial.
dragged him in?
I'd be scared because he's kind of, I don't know, like a lot of reports is not a very nice chap, from what I understand.
As you really know, he seems like a bit of a weasel. He seems like a weasel.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the guy, and I don't like to get personal
No,
like
no,
when
no,
I'm
no,
talking
no,
on the
no,
internet because
no. I'm willing to make a snap judgment. He seems like
Really?
he's super nice and smiley, but like I can see him being a bit reptilian under all that. Yeah, he's a little bit of a lizard man. I don't trust him.
Okay. Well, I get the same impression, and I won't name names, but like listening to a lot of like podcasts, like a lot of people have come away from an interaction with him being like, that was kind of weird. Like, so yeah.
He's not getting paid enough to talk to you. His time's that precious.
He's only charging like $500,000 for a minute of airtime on his award shows.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you do stuff like that, your head will get relatively large, won't it? Like, it's just how that goes.
Just really puff out.
Yeah, he's gonna be the Minecraft fucking character. They won't even need CGI for him.
Yo. I feel this would be good for gamers.
Oh God, man. Yeah.
Weird.
1 of 57.
Which, yeah, a thread. Let us know which was the best that year. Exclamation mark. All right, beautiful. There we go.
Fantastic.
Post. Send.
Such an old man. Such a fucking boomer. Wait, no, we're
Let
not.
me send
boomers.
my tweet. Okay, I'm done. I'm over that now. You'll be happy to know.
Nice. You'll swing it back.
I might do, but he might block me, like for real. So we'll see.
Do you really think he's going to take time out of his day to block you?
Yeah, he's gonna be like, fuck. If I do that, I'm gonna have to like Game Pass is gonna get voted every year. Shit, I can't have this.
But then if he blocks you,
Censor him.
that shows weakness as well. People know you're onto something. You'll gain traction.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. And then I can become like a grifter. I can be like one of those guys that does one of those big YouTube thumbnails that's like the best subscription service. I like a big red circle.
Yeah, blur out the important clickbait stuff. Not clickbait in the title.
Yeah. All right. So the actual Xbox related stories we had this week, Tim, story 1, 2, and 3 are basically all one big story. Have you seen this? Have you seen any of this?
I've seen the June stuff. I caught wind of that. I don't know what the fuck Enatria is. Not a
I thought it
Scooby.
was a Notria. I don't know. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Or
Okay.
yeah. And then
Okay,
what's
I'll
number
rapid
three?
fire it for you.
Yeah, and number
The
three, to
Marvel
be
vs.
honest,
Capcom 2.
I didn't even know Marvel vs. Capcom were having issues getting stuff on the Xbox platform. So no, I only know one out of the three of these.
Okay, let me hip fire this out for you real quick. So, yeah, devs of Dune Awakening said that the Xbox Series S will be a challenge. That's Funcom. They said, quote, it's one of the reasons we're coming out on PC first. There's lots of optimizations we need to do before we release on Xbox. But yeah, Series S is a challenge. Big deal. Of course, obviously, it's the lowest spec console on the market. Although I am a bit confused because surely they're still making the game for the lowest spec PC. So I don't understand that. Maybe I'm stupid. Fine,
Hmm.
whatever. That's story one. So the whole Series S, debacle got re-emerged again. Oh, it's holding back the industry. It slept with my wife. It blew up my house. All the rest. Um, the second one, Anotria, the last song. This was like kind of a low key banger. I can't remember where it got revealed. I want to say it was the Game Awards, but it was the one where they're wearing like ball masks, like pointy ball masks, and everything's like robotic, and they're like fencing. It has very like Lies of P energy.
Oh, okay.
I hope I'm remembering that right. Anyway, they said they released one of those, like JPEGs where it's like the background is like themed like the game and there's text in it. And it's like, we've made the long, hard decision to indefinitely delay Xbox. And everyone was like, yo, what the fuck? How can this possibly be happening again? And they eventually got really pissed off and they were like, basically, Xbox has stopped replying to us like 2 months ago. So yeah, really weird.
Hmm.
And then so that was blowing up because this had been like the second or third game, and as you know, this has been happening with a couple of like smaller games, Black Myth being the most prolific.
Hmm.
But then we got like an update from them yesterday saying Phil Spencer like personally reached out to us and we're going to get it sorted. So it's not an indefinite delay; it's still an Xbox delay. But it all gets a bit weird because they said like earlier in the year that they weren't even targeting Xbox, or something along those lines. So it all gets a bit confusing of like what the actual truth is. But anyway, there does seem to be some through line through a lot of this that their certification process and then replying to a lot of maybe these smaller devs is really slow at times, which seems a bit weird considering they're such a big company. So anyway, that's story number two. Last but not least, story number three. This was like 2 months ago, I want to say now, maybe a month ago. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 collections. So it's like, a remaster of the older Marvel vs. Capcom
Hmm.
2. Was exclusively not releasing on Xbox. It was releasing on everything else. And everybody, the Series S thing started stirring up again. We'd heard that internally it was a technical issue. And then, like again, just this week, we found out that Xbox had reached out to help the team figure out that technical hurdle, and now is releasing in 2025 with the other platforms. So it's kind of just like one big loopy story, really, where I'm not really sure. Like,
Hmm.
it's hard to diagnose the problem. Is this so? The worst. So there's like explanation. Hypothesis A: the death spiral is happening that we feared would happen. Xbox is losing market share. Devs are increasingly getting less interested in making devs and making it last priority. And because of the dev atmosphere, especially for smaller devs and like less like budget blasting games, they're just deprioritizing the Xbox console, and
Hmm.
some games are skipping or getting delayed. Hypothesis B: something's going on with their like dev intermediary team, like the team that talks to Xbox and talks
Yep.
to the dev teams to try and get it released. Something's going on there. And then number three is that, Series S is continuing to fuck devs around and making it so impossibly hard for them to um, get it ready for the Series X and the S at the same time as everyone else, because, Xbox requires parity on both of those platforms despite being a different spec.
Hmm.
What do you think? What's the deal here? What are your thoughts?
I don't really know, to be honest. I don't think there's enough evidence to back up any one of those theories, to be brutally honest. It's a bit weird how it's all kind of coming out now. Um, like more so than ever. So that makes me think that it is more of like a reactionary thing or a temporary thing, like you said, like with the I don't know, just like a miscommunication between Xbox and helping the developers. They're having a bit of a rough patch or something like that. There's just some internal staff issues there. Or maybe it's the the market share thing, but like I think that's a bit drastic. I don't think it's that. I don't know, man. I think it might just be weirdly convenient timing, and maybe a little bit of a lapse in judgment, and from Xbox, from like a very temporary sort of thing. Bit coincidental, I think it all is. Because obviously the biggest one being Black Myth Wukong, which obviously isn't in here, but that was obviously debunked to be something else. So you can take that one off the table.
We still don't really know. We don't really know, but there does seem to be mounting evidence that there was some sort of money was exchanged between PlayStation and Black Myth, but we don't know the context of that. Like, because they didn't market it as an exclusive, like there were no marketing rights. We just don't. It's hard to know how that has really worked, but it does seem like some money was exchanged to speed along the PlayStation version, or to just not develop the Xbox, like, or prioritize the PlayStation. Who really knows at this point? But I suppose, yeah, you're right in that that does seem to be a different thing to these.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the whole Series S thing, I don't know. Like I do kind of agree. Like I'm not quite in like the outrage of like everyone else with the Series S. But I do agree that like there's got to be some negative light towards developing on Xbox, because people know they have to kind of tackle it in two different ways, right? And they have to cater for a lower spec Xbox console, as well as making it on par for the Series X, and PlayStation 5, and then obviously scaling down for that. Like there's definitely like there's no doubt in my mind that dev teams are rolling their eyes at that and thinking, oh god, yeah, we've got to do an Xbox version, so we've got to plan out like the different avenues for that. And it really makes me think that I wonder if Xbox had a redo button, and if Xbox had a go back in time button, do you think they would have done the same thing with the Series S and made the whole parity thing? I think they're actually probably regretting that a little bit. I don't think that's like the sole cause for this, but I do think that if they had a time machine, they'd probably go back and not do the parity, or maybe just not do the console in general.
Yeah, it's a really difficult question to answer, because I think, like, if you ask them that question right now, like today, I think they'd probably say yes. If you ask them like in 2022, I think they'd probably say no, because my understanding is that the Series S has been like the majority of Xbox's sales this gen, and they've had a higher number of what acronym do they use for it? Like higher. They use like an internal acronym for it, like first time Xbox users ever, because of its low price point. So like it has worked. It seems like in that sense it has been effective in getting people in the door that wouldn't have otherwise have bought an Xbox, or just maybe wouldn't have considered a next gen console because of the really low price point. But for sure, there are parts that are biting them in the ass. In some senses here, it's not like a big deal, but it does seem to be becoming more and more of an issue as the gen is going on, right? And games are getting increasingly ambitious, and
But they should have planned for that. They should have known that as well. Like surely when they were making the call to make this, they envisioned this towards the end of the generation and later in the generation, as the tech specs get increasingly more demanding, that stuff like this will happen. They should have forecast for that, and if they didn't, it's just bad business, really.
Yeah. Well, and this is the reason why I said I don't think they would have said yes 2 years ago, because if you asked them today, I think yes, they probably would say on reflection, we wish we hadn't done this, because their strategy is so in fucking flux. Like it's at the to us it seems, maybe they've got it all nailed down internally, But like, we've seen what they've done. Like, they did the historic thing of starting to put games on other platforms, and we're hearing all this thing about PC hybrid or possible handheld. Like, clearly they're looking to shake things up next gen. Like, it doesn't look like they're going to go for the dual SKU approach, a dual spec approach, other than going for a handheld, which is arguably maybe its own beast because they won't require a parity between the two. I wouldn't have thought. Whereas that's the main problem. If they said to devs, fine, you're okay to have a Series S, but not to put in this feature, then I'm sure that would have eased a lot of the problems, but they haven't. They've said, no, if you release it on the Series X, every single feature has to be on the S as well. That's like the real killer. And so now looking at what they're doing now, arguably, doing this kind of PC hybrid thing for next gen, that's just like a complete pivot. It's a complete pivot to what they were going with. So I think really the S and X was their last. It was, it was like the Hail Mary to try and get people back in the conventional way. And then by the time 2023 rolled around, or 2024, even this year, when they started putting games on other platforms, they kind of conceded, no, we need to start thinking about a different approach.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, what's your 2 cents on it? Like, what out of the 3 theories, what do you think is the most likely?
Yeah, I mean, I reckon it's probably. I think there's something going on in the intermediaries between Xbox and devs. I mean, it probably is a bit of everything, really. If we're going to be realistic, how much of it is actually Series S being a challenge? Maybe a little bit. How much of it is like the intermediary issue, as I keep bringing up? Maybe a big chunk. How much of it is, like the death spiral of the decreased market share and therefore, Xbox being deprioritized? Maybe a little bit for some devs with really strained shoestring budgets. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's a possibility. So you could argue it's a little bit of all of them, but from what I'm understanding, yeah, it's mostly this thing of like Xbox is taking a long time to get back to the devs in many instances. Maybe that's because they're like reworking things internally again, to figure out how they're going to do things differently for next gen. It's but it's definitely bizarre. It's definitely bizarre. But I am glad that they are responding as they usually do. They are responding to a lot of the feedback online, and then they're reaching out directly to these devs. It's not a good look that the dev has to go to Twitter and publicly lambast them to get it to happen. But nonetheless, I am glad they're saying, "Oh shit, like we're fucking up here. We need to get on this and get this working." So also on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, if it is true, and it was just like they weren't getting a response out of Xbox for like months, like what the hell happened there? Like, surely they got to look into that and just be like, why weren't we talking with this dev for months, even though they actually were continually asking us questions? Like, that's really weird. Yeah, I mean that it kind of I'm kind of with you in the sense that I think the larger chunk of it is just the potential restructure of everything, and maybe Xbox just losing sight of this sort of stuff, and just like quality assurance and working with the devs, because it just seems all like the fact that it's all happened in a bit of a chunk quite close together just makes me think that it is just something that's fallen apart, like a bit of like a house of cards situation, rather than something that was predetermined and like the long fate of Xbox just dwindling. I don't. It wouldn't happen quite like this. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. As we keep saying, a lot of all of these issues, if it is related to, their change in strategy from what we can see as a consumer, the only way it makes sense is if they're looking to pivot into PC a little bit for next gen. It's the only way it makes sense. And if that isn't what they're doing, I'm going to be really asking some big questions about what's going on, because this was never an issue last gen. I mean, that's the only observation I suppose we can make in terms of time. This wasn't happening last gen. Devs were not regularly reaching out and saying we're exclusively not coming to Xbox, soz, or we're coming later, or they haven't responded to us. From what I understand, this was not happening last gen. Maybe I can be corrected if I'm wrong, but I think that's a pretty interesting observation, you know.
It's a bit weird for sure. Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see, yeah, if it ever comes out, really what was the reason why. Because yeah, I'm with you. I feel like it's happening a lot more now. I feel like I've never been more on edge when I see like a trailer or a new game or something like that, and I'm literally just like, what platforms is this coming to? Like, is this coming to the platform I own, Xbox? Like, I've never been more sort of cautious like that than I ever have been so far this year.
Definitely. And I do think as well, it's really interesting because the first time this happened really was Baldur's Gate 3. And it does make me wonder. And of course, we know, well, we seem to know why that was because that became a very big public
Split
deal because
screen,
it was the
wasn't it?
game of the year. It was the split screen for the Series S. So it was the parity. And they made one rare exception, you know, for that case where they just said, fine, launch without split screen on the Series S, add it later. You know, so again, like looking at that evidence, you know, maybe the Series S does play a bigger role in this. You know, you know, it's hard to know exactly blow for blow what's having an impact where. But I do also wonder, like, now that Baldur's Gate 3 did it, and it made Phil personally go to Twitter, you know, like, is this like just the easiest route for devs to do it now because they've seen it worked for the biggest game ever? So why don't we just do that? Why don't we just say, you know, we're having trouble?
Mm.
And we'll just go to Twitter about it.
Yeah, and yeah, and then maybe we'll get some relaxation on the Series X version, and we can actually Series S version, sorry, and then we can get it out the door. Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you know, or it seems it would be acceptable to ship on the Xbox later because it happened to the biggest game of last year, and you know things didn't blow up like it happened. Like there's a precedent for it, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The pressure of the public eye.
Mm. All right, let's have a quick talk about Concord, Tim. I hate to do this. I'm not grave dancing, but this is weird. This is very weird, and it's you know, it's just like you said earlier. It's just as well PlayStation did to have just had a mega hit
Mm.
with Astro Bot straight afterwards. Although I am interested in how that will sell, because I like something makes me think that it's not going to sell actually that well, because the
Really?
PlayStation audience isn't going to like that. Yeah.
People love the Playroom though. I guess that was free, but
But having said that, maybe it's hit such a high level of reviews that like it's going to be a zeitgeist thing. Who really knows? Yeah, I don't know. I just think most people who have bought a PlayStation 5 who are the core audience don't want to play Astro Bot.
mm.
They might do though. I don't know if it's full price either. I don't know what price point is that. Anyway, no point. Concord's being shut down, Tim. It's
Mm-hmm.
being pulled from the fucking store. 3 weeks after release. I think it would absolutely be fair to say that this is the pound for pound per capita the biggest flop we've ever seen. Ever seen.
Yeah.
This makes Redfall look like a big success.
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
how that's possible.
Makes everything. It makes Gollum look successful. I think Gollum made more money than
Shivers
this.
down my spine. I mean, the studio did get shut down.
Yeah, but they spent less money and they probably sold
It's
just as
true.
many copies. So they probably pound for pound earned probably more than Concord.
Yeah.
Which is horrific.
So they have offered full refunds. They've said everyone who's bought it is going to get a full refund, and the exact language they used, I will read on there. They put out a bit of PlayStation put out an article, and the particular paragraph that is the most interesting is as follows. Quote, however, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that the other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we intended. Therefore, at this time, we've decided to take the game offline beginning September the 6th and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. What does it mean, dude? What does it mean? What does it
Well,
mean
it
by
just
that?
means they're gonna just try a re-release strategy, but um, I just don't know. Like what you said when you were just like internal like reviews and stuff like that earlier, and you were just like they knew Concord would be a stinker and stuff like that. Like, why? Like what? Like why not just delay it a couple months and then just do this right from the get go? Like if they knew it was going to be an absolute stinker, because all they've done right now is just lose a crap ton of money, put so much, like there's just absolutely no faith in the brand, in the game name now or anything, that I think that even if they were to go a free to play route, redesign this whole thing, get a battle pass in there, get some cool skins, it's just too late. Like I really think it's just too late now. So like, how could they know it was going to be that bad and think, "Oh, release it anyway, still charge £40 and then do a full shot." I guess they weren't expecting it to do that, like as bad as it did. But like, I mean, come on, like whoever made the call to still push this out the door is it's just done nothing but just hurt the company, the game, Sony, everyone. Like I just don't understand.
I've got to be honest, I'm really surprised that they didn't pivot to a free to play launch after they saw all the feedback and
Yeah, they
they
should
would have
have.
seen the pre-order numbers. They would have seen the beta, the early access numbers. They would have seen all of that, and they still decided to keep
It's just
the price
stubborn,
point
man.
like.
I just don't know what it is. Like, there's almost that element of, again, you brought it up where you just thought maybe they were just hoping for that hardcore audience of PlayStation players still to just buy it. But then that didn't even happen. Like, there's just this weird stubbornness about them that you're right. I feel like any other um, platform would have reacted and changed the way this game would have launched, but Sony didn't. I just don't know. Like I really think it just comes down to stubbornness.
Well,
And
maybe I don't know. Xbox did release Redfall, so I'm not sure. I don't
yeah,
know.
but then Redfall didn't really
Maybe it's hard to compare because it's not a service game, and typically Xbox are
exactly
quite
how
fairly
do you
careful with service games.
make Redfall free to play? Like you don't, so you kind of had to just push that out the door as it was with the price tag. It was just the game it
Yeah.
was. This is a service game. This can be adapted to that model, which is the most popular model for the genre it's releasing in, by the way. Um, so there's not really an excuse there, and I don't really think you can compare the two. Yeah, it's just bizarre, man. And I even think like that how they worded this. Anyone who's thinking there's some hope here, I think they're going to go back to the drawing board. They're going to get some ideas, and then when I think it comes down to just the amount of time and money it will take to actually change this up, they're just not going to go ahead with it. I don't think this game's ever coming back out free to play or anything. I think it's just going to sit there for a few months or something like that, and then they're just going to be like, yeah, we just decided not to go ahead and put them onto a different project. They're a talented studio. We're going to utilize them elsewhere. I don't think this game's seeing the light of day again.
So you just think this is gone forever? You don't think,
I do.
or maybe they line up the re-release for when they
I just
release
don't think
that
it's worth their
a
time.
TV show. What's that TV show called that we just saw
Oh,
at
the
the
Amazon Prime
Gamescom?
thing. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah,
Because
potentially.
Concord's in that.
Yeah, Concord is in that. Yeah, potentially because it's getting maybe some public eye there, but I don't know, man. I'm kind of banking my money on just the fact that I think they've worded this positively because it's better to say this and to say we're gonna try than to just say sorry, it's fucking dead. It's 6 feet under. Here's your money back. Like they've just said here's your money back, and Concord might be back. But I think when it comes to actually crunching the numbers, I don't think this game's seeing the light of day again. It's such a risk. It was such a risk anyway, and now it's 1,000 times the risk. Why? Why would you ever try again?
Well, the thing is, when you have a difficult service launch like this, you're really faced with a difficult, position. Do we continue to invest and hope that we can get something going, or do we just jump ship after 6 to 8 years of development?
Jump
Like
ship.
Jesus, and like I said, we always come back to some of these earlier examples, like Sea of Thieves being a good one. Although Sea of Thieves wasn't quite as bad as this in terms of the opening reception, or even the commercial success. I think Sea of Thieves did actually okay because it
Mm.
launched into Game Pass, so it a lot of people got their hands on it, and that reputation slowly turned around. Siege, I remember being a big one as well, right? Rainbow Six Siege was like that launched to quite middling reviews and middling player counts, but
Mm.
somehow it's turned into one of the most played, consistently played service games out there. Or maybe that was all of that is just a product of its time. Maybe there
Mm.
was a good year to do that between like 2015 and 2020, but now that's just going to be improbable.
Yeah. There's just not enough. There's not enough market share. There's not enough of this game to be unique enough for it to have that explosive comeback.
yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
I mean, because you look at like even things like on the Xbox side, you look at Halo Infinite, right? Halo Infinite was fucking nailed it at launch, and then the service wasn't ready to go. So the play count dwindled and dwindled and dwindled and dwindled, and somewhere along the lines they said it's not worth full blasting this anymore.
Mm.
Like we're not going to pull back enough to make this worth it. And
Mm.
again, Halo Infinite still is not performing that bad. For Halo, it is performing badly, but like for just a general service game, on Xbox, it's still in like the top, I think 40.
Mm.
It's not like a total flop. It's not like it's not like a Concord flop. But I hate to do this, but like
Mm.
it's not like that. On
No,
Steam,
I
it's
mean,
it's I think it's around 4K a day, so it's not great on Steam. But
but then Halo Infinite also had its ups and downs. It had its spikes for its expansion releases and its
yeah,
season releases and stuff
it's
like
like
that.
Helldivers a
So
little bit, isn't it?
yeah, so it did have some pretty good numbers. It's just they dropped off relatively quick until the next expansion and stuff like that. And then yeah, like you said, they just realized financially it just doesn't make sense to keep to just keep this going. Concord's just flatlining, just right from minute one. Like
Yeah.
you can't just sit there just defibbing a corpse hoping it's gonna come back to life. Like you really can't. Like I really think there's just no hope for it, and it is sad. We're not here to dance on its grave or anything. Um, I might have predicted that this was going to happen, and I said that the game wouldn't be a thing by 2025. It's happened way quicker than I thought it was ever going to happen, but I did kind of call it. I was just a few months ahead of myself. Um, yeah, it's just not happening. It's not coming back.
What they really need is to just put Astro Bot in Concord,
Mhm. Yeah, a playable
or put Concord in Astro Bot.
something with Astro Bot, and you're fine.
Yeah, they'll be okay. Yeah, it's a very interesting case study. Yeah, I would not be surprised if we just never saw this again, and we got a blog post from PlayStation in 3 months' time saying it's with a heavy heart that we will not be bringing back Concord. It didn't hit the way we wanted to. Um, Maybe even looking at a studio closure. Horrendously. They acquired the team for this, so I reckon they'll just try and if that does happen, I reckon they'll just try and distribute the team
Mm.
internally as best they can, or and maybe this is part of the decision making, or they've said, look, if we keep pushing for another year and we continue to lose money and we can't get this start to turn around, we're going to need to close the studio. If we don't do that and we just pull the plug now, we can fund you for another chance. We can fund you for like a double A tight budget, 3 year development time, something.
Mm.
Maybe even something in a Concord universe. Who knows? You're fine, do something, but do something safe. Like a shooter where you play as Lennox, the guy with the fucking hot sauce and the pistol. I don't know. Make it a parody game about how bad games flop. I don't know. Do it about something like maybe that's
Mm.
there's a decision in there in that ilk that's been made. So yeah, I don't know if we ever see this again. I know there's a lot of conversation out there about trying it in PS Plus or as a free to play, and maybe that is like them. Maybe they will try that as a Hail Mary. Like 3 months, they rework the monetization systems, they do a bit more balancing, maybe switch up some of the character designs if they have time for that, and just release it. Maybe with one new game mode, maybe they just throw in like a budget Overwatch thing because I know people said they didn't like the game modes all that much. Like stuff that they can feasibly do in 3 to 6 months and just drop it free to play, PS Plus, yada yada, and just see how it does as like a Hail Mary. And if that's not working, then farewell. But
yeah, potentially. Yeah, I don't think they'll even do that, but yeah.
okay, all right then. We'll come on to our final story of the day, which was Phil Spencer sitting down to have an interview. He doesn't do many of these days because he realizes, he's in trouble. He's in trouble with the Xbox community. He's not. The man gets heckled every time he gets in front of a microphone. There, a lot of the community's like, "Why are you putting games on other platforms?" So yeah, it's a bit rough for him, which is, it's their fault, but it's a bit rough for him right now. Especially because he can't give any answers. So really interestingly, in this interview he had this week, I can't remember where it was that he had the interview. Was it maybe like PAX? No, I don't remember. It's not important. But he said, and I quote, "I've made some of the worst game choice decisions." And that was in reference to passing on Destiny, signing Destiny as an Xbox game, and also signing on Guitar Hero as an Xbox game as well. And this is coming after like other stories we've heard in the past of them passing on games as well. I think there are more, but most notably was them passing on signing a Marvel game during the end of the Xbox 360 gen. They Marvel approached them and said, "Hey, do you want to make a game?" And he said, "Nope." And that was while I think Phil was at the head of Xbox Game Studios at the time, before he was, CEO of Xbox. It was like, he was the head of the first, so he would have had a role in that as well. And it's he's always been a very reflective and introspective guy, and candid as well. It's not, it feels like there's an actual human being in front of the microphone when he does talk, but like, it's fair to say that he's had his fair share of fuck ups. I'm not sure if these two in particular would have been particularly beneficial, but I think it's just a wider conversation about like the decisions they've made with signing some games and not other games. And yeah. And what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone can look back on what they've done and think like, oh, I could have done that better, or oh, maybe we should have done that. But yeah, like you said, in these two examples, at least are highlighted in this, I don't think Destiny and Guitar Hero are like that big a misses. I mean, you kind of look at how Bungie's going at the moment, and it's not too hot. I mean, with that all being said, maybe it's a case of Sony just don't know how to do live service, right? So they're not managing Bungie properly, and Destiny properly, or something like that. And maybe they could have done that better under the Xbox umbrella. Maybe Bungie could have flourished a little bit better, with that being more, the games that release on these on Xbox platforms. But yeah, I don't really see them as like massive misses, to be honest. The thing is with Destiny is there's always that potential, isn't there? Like Destiny is like a universe IP, right? Like you could do so much with Destiny. Like it might not be too hot right now. Although it ended with a bang with Final Shape and stuff like that, but like there's just so much you can do with it. It's a very versatile IP. So yeah, basically, at least he's good enough to admit, that he's made mistakes. Like you said, it's very human, and quite and nice to see sometimes. But I wonder what the Marvel game he was offered that he passed on was. Imagine if it was Spider-Man, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Well, I mean, the story goes for Insomniac with Marvel is that I think, what was it? It was that Marvel approached PlayStation, and then PlayStation approached Insomniac, and the message was essentially, "We want to make a game. What would you want to make one?" And Insomniac picked Spider-Man.
Oh, I see. I see.
So I imagine the same thing happened to Xbox, but Xbox had the first right of refusal. They said, "Do you want to make one of your studios to make a Xbox game. But of course, at the time, Xbox only had 4 studios. Even though Insomniac wasn't a PlayStation studio at the time, PlayStation has always had a lot of, like second-party relationships, with a close relationship. Whereas Xbox again didn't really have that. So they obviously could have and should have made it work. I mean, we say that, but Spider-Man, like the games for PlayStation, hasn't made them that much money, and we saw that in all of the earning reports because they pay so much for the licensing fees. Like those games have to be mega hits to make like razor thin profits. Of course, it's like boosted the profile of PlayStation, which is exactly what they wanted. So, and to be fair, I think Xbox does need some more mascots. So, like, I'm sure they look back at that with regret. But of course, there's a reason they said no, and I think at the time,
It made
that
sense.
what I remember is
no.
that it made sense, but they also wanted to build up their own catalog of IP. I think was one of the reasons they said, rather than relying on other people's IP. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can always look back and be like, "Oh, I've made so many mistakes," but then like, you've also got to put yourself back into the shoes you were in at that time, right? And like, you made those calls for those reasons because at the time it just didn't. The finances just weren't there, or the company was just heading in a completely different direction. Like, of course you look back at it now and you think, oh fuck, we're in a position where we would love to have Destiny right now, but you weren't there when you were approached. So like, yeah, it doesn't really, yeah, it doesn't really fit. But
Absolutely. All right. Okay. Well, with that brings us towards the end of the show today. Thanks everyone for joining us for episode 144. We did a lot of talking about PlayStation today, didn't we? But hey, as I said at the top of the show, we talk about platforms where Xbox games launch. So this is a you problem, not a me problem.
Yeah, this is Spencer's fault.
Yeah, I got you the T's and C's there. All right.
Yeah, exactly. You can't complain. This is what we've been forced to do. It's not our fault. Xbox has pivoted.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next week, I imagine. I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope we get some more positive Xbox news this week. That'd be great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.